I'm so happy. Based on popular request, people have been asking for yoga workouts and any kind of workout. And while I don't do any kind of special workout or anything of that sort, I figured why not do one today? um, and so, first, I do want to wash my mat or wipe it off, and I want to show you guys how I do that. Um, let's see here. I want to show you guys how I do that. First, we are going to grab a towel and we will grab some water and say hi if you can. But without further ado, actually, I'm going to turn the light on so you guys can see me better. That was my bad. I'm still working out the kinks on this live, but at least I got landscape. At least I figured out how to get the landscape on properly. Can you guys see and hear me okay? If so, I'm going to be grabbing the towel and we're gonna clean the mat first before we get started. So let's do it. How are you guys doing? Okay, we're gonna grab some vinegar. So I put some vinegar and some eucalyptus in this. And we're just gonna do some like spray. It's just gonna be very, very gentle. If you guys haven't washed a mat before, I'll show you how. It's actually quite simple. All you need is some water and some vinegar because we are, of course, eco-friendly. And so as we wash this mat with some vinegar, natural ingredients, I just put some essential oil inside my bottle of vinegar, diluted vinegar water, so it smells like minty. So we're gonna wash this mat, wipe it down as we prepare for a very special flow. We're gonna prepare for a pretty special flow because we've got a full moon. So I thought, why not? Why not do some yoga today? Whilst I am in Malasana, don't ask me how I know these terms because I am not certified. But you guys can follow along with me because you don't need to be certified in yoga to practice yoga. And I am a lifelong student. I woke up with a stuffy nose, so pardon the congestion. I think it's like allergy season. In any case, we're done with that. We've wiped everything down, and now we shall practice. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, by the way. I'm just gonna wipe my feet as well. Okay. Burp, burp. Okay. So I've got this down, and we're gonna get started. as per everyone's request. We're going to start with just a 50-minute practice. So, okay, let's get started, guys.
Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Allie Owens. Today we're going to get started standing at the top of our mat. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your feet about hips width and distance apart and slightly bend your knees. You're going to begin by just rocking the weight forward and back onto the fronts of your feet and then back towards your heels. And as you start to rock forward and back, just notice where the distribution of weight is in your feet. And see if you can find a nice steady balance between too far forward and too far back.
Okay, let's go back.
And then from there, really press your feet in your feet. And see if you...
I'm going to change the sound so you guys can hear a little bit better.
And as you start to rock forward and back, just notice where the distribution of weight is in your feet. And see if you can find a nice steady balance between too far forward and too far back. And then from there, really press your feet down into the ground, but lift through the arches of your feet so you feel them kind of suctioning up the legs. As you feel your tailbone slightly drop, feel the navel center draw back and up, and then feel your collarbones broaden. Arms reach down by your sides, palms facing forward. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And exhale a long sigh out through your mouth. On your next inhale, circle your arms up overhead. And then as you exhale, fold forward, bending your knees as much as you need so that the chest meets your thighs. Now as you inhale, drag your fingertips up your shins and lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, plant your palms down on the ground and step back into plank pose. As you come into plank, really press your hands down into the earth and then feel that rebound up through your forearms and up through your arm bones, and then draw the triceps back as you pull your heels back. Draw the navel center in and then lengthen the crown of your head forward towards the top of your mat. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and then on an exhale, press into your hands and pull your hips back into downward facing dog pose. Slowly begin to pedal out to your feet, bending one knee and then bending the other. And as you do this, you might start to open the calves and your hamstrings. If you feel a lot of weight in your hands, can you press down into your index knuckle and lift out of your wrists a little bit, maybe bending your knees and turning your hands slightly out to lengthen your lower back. If you feel kind of comfortable in down dog, you want to walk your feet back and widen your stance, encouraging you to lift through your navel center and lift through your forearms so you're not sinking the chest in the pose. Now as you inhale, shift back into plank pose. Now come high into the tips of your toes so that it moves the weight more into the fingertips and into your knuckles. And then bend your elbows back so they sweep the sides of your waist and lower all the way down to the mat. Release the tops of your feet onto the floor, lift the kneecaps, and draw your shoulder blades down your back. On an inhale, lift your chest. And on an exhale, lower the chest back down. Cobra pose, strengthening the muscles along your spine as you inhale, lift your upper back. Exhale, lower the chest back down. One more time, inhale, lifting your chest for Cobra. Let's go ahead and elevate the hands up off the mat. Pull the heels of the hands back and then lower the hands back down. Hug your elbows in, take a deep breath in, and then exhale, lower the chest back down. Press back to your hands into your knees, lifting your navel center up off the floor first, and then tuck your toes. You can always shift back to child's pose or into downward facing dog pose. Deep breaths. Go ahead and step your feet as wide as your mat. So you're kind of in this wide down dog, and then walk your hands to meet your feet. Grab opposite elbows, let the head hang in the framework of your arms, and you can move your head around to release any tension in the neck. If you feel pretty comfortable in releasing the fingers behind your back, or if you have a towel, you can always grab a towel. You can come into a shoulder stretch. Bend the knees as much as you need to release the lower back. So as much as this is a hamstring opener, it's a lower back opener as well. Release the hands down towards the ground. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in.
I realized that maybe it's possible that I need to adjust the camera so you guys can actually see. There you go. Sorry about that. Okay. I hope that's better. Let's see here. Yeah, that looks centered. Sorry, I took a pause because I realized that when I was doing Cobra, you guys probably couldn't see me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for joining in. We are practicing some yoga. And so I took a little break to adjust the camera, so now we're gonna go back.
As you breathe in, and then walk your hands back out into downward facing dog. Let's bring your feet back to hips width and distance. And then step your right foot forward between your hands and lower your back knee down to the ground. As you inhale, come up onto your fingertips and draw the shoulder blades down your back. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And then as you exhale, pull your hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana, into a hamstring stretch pose. You can walk your hands back. If you have a block, you can always lift your hands up on blocks. Flex the right ankle and pull the toes back towards your face. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, rebend your front knee. Lift the back knee up. And step back into downward dog pose. Left side, step your left foot forward between your hands and lower the back knee down. Come up onto your fingertips and feel your shoulder tips draw down towards your hips. Soft gaze, deep breaths. And then pull your hips back into Ardha Hanumanasana, flexing the left ankle. Again, maybe walking your hands back or elevating them up on blocks. Squeeze the outer hips and lift the navel center towards your spine. Continue to draw the shoulder blades down the back. So easy to do this. Opening up the heart. Now rebend into the front knee, lift your back knee up and step back into downward facing dog. As you inhale, shift forward into plank pose. As you exhale, lower all the way to the ground, or if you like, you can lower down halfway. Cobra, up dog as you breathe in. Exhale, down dog, breathing out. Deep breaths. Inhale, lift your right leg up parallel to the ground, and as you exhale, draw your right knee towards your nose and round into tiger's pose. Inhale your right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, tiger's pose. Inhale, reach your right leg up and back. And then step your right foot through between your hands. Lower your back knee down. And this time, reach your arms up into Anjaneyasana. You might back your hips up, squeeze the inner thighs, and then re-lunge. Lifting your heart up. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, lower your hands down, lift your back knee up. This time you're going to step forward into a fold. As you inhale, rise up to stand, reach your arms all the way up. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Samasthiti feet. Inhale, circle your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, step your right foot back into a high lunge and lower your back knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up, Anjaneyasana. Take a nice deep breath in, and on an exhale, lower the hands down to the ground. Lift your back knee up as you breathe in and step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank pose, and this time you're just going to do a push-up. So lower halfway down. You can always lower your knees to the ground, and then press your arms to straight and pull your hips back to down dog. Inhale, reach your left leg up parallel to the ground. Exhale, knee to nose, tiger's pose. Inhale, your left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale your left leg up and back. Exhale, step your left foot forward between your hands and then lower your back knee down. As you inhale, reach your arms up. And then exhale, lower your hands down. On an inhale, lift your back knee up. And then exhale, step forward into a fold. Drop the crown of your head down. Press down into your feet to rise to stand. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step your left foot back and lower your back knee down. Inhale, your arms reach up. Exhale, the hands come down. Inhale, the back knee lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower just halfway down. Press your arms to straight. Oof. And a downward facing dog. Let's keep moving. Inhale, your right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, the right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, the right leg up and back. And then step your right foot forward between your hands. Lower the back knee down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come down. Lift your back knee up, breathing in. This time, straighten your front leg and pull your hips back, breathing out. Rebend your front knee, inhale. Let's do that one more time. Straighten the front leg, pull your hips back. Rebend the front knee, inhale. Exhale, step forward into a fold. Rise to stand, breathing in. Hands to heart, breathing out. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, spine lengthens. Exhale, step your right foot back and lower your back knee down. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands come down. Inhale, the back knee lifts. And then exhale, walk your hands in between your feet. Cross the Urdhva Padottanasana. Toes turn slightly in. Heels turn slightly out. And walk your hands back to drop the crown of your head down. Deep breaths. Lengthen your spine as you breathe in. Keep your left hand down, reach your right arm up and twist. Opening up the upper body. Lower your right hand down underneath your right shoulder, reach your left arm up and twist. Exhale, lower your hands down, drop the crown of your head down. Walk your hands forward towards the top of your mat and step back into downward facing dog pose. Inhale, shift forward into a plank pose. And then roll to the outer edge of your right foot, reach your left arm up into Vashisthasana. You can always lower this bottom knee down for a little extra support. Deep breaths. And then switch, left hand comes down, roll to the outer edge of your left foot, and reach your right arm up, Vashisthasana. Feel free to support the pose in any way you need. And then exhale, lower your right hand down, shift back into downward facing dog. Take a pause in child's pose, lower your knees to the ground, rest your hips back. And drop the forehead to the mat. You can bring your arms down by your sides if that feels good. Allowing the energy to settle in your body. Ironing out the breath. Nice, smooth, long inhales and exhales. And then when you're ready, slowly shifting back into downward facing dog pose. Inhale, the left leg will rise. Exhale, knee to nose, tiger's pose. Inhale, the left leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, tiger's pose. Inhale, your left leg up and back. Exhale, step the foot through between your hands. This time, keep your back knee lifted and rise up into crescent pose. Lift the frontal hip bones up so the tailbone drops towards the floor. Bring your right hip slightly forward. Draw the shoulders away from the ears as you wrap your pinkies in. Take another breath. And then exhale, lower your hands down to the mat. Pull your hips back into that hamstring stretch, maybe flexing the left ankle. Rebend into your front knee as you inhale, and then as you exhale, pull your hips back into a hamstring stretch. Rebend the front knee, inhale, and then exhale, step forward into a fold, drop the crown of your head down. Chair pose, bend your knees, reach your arms up. Feel the low belly lift as you sink a little bit more. And then press to stand, hands to heart. Samasthiti. Chair pose, inhale. Forward fold, exhale, but sweep the hands back, interlace the fingers behind your back and come into a shoulder stretch. 3 breaths. Exhale, lower your hands down. Step your left foot back into a lunge and then reach your arms up into crescent pose. Feel the outer hips hug in and then lift the frontal hip bones up. Take a breath. And exhale, lower your hands down. Step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, shift forward to plank. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Cobra, up dog, breathing in. And downward facing dog, breathing out. Lift your right leg up, inhale, go and open the thigh and bend the knee. You can explore here. Exhale, step your right foot through between your hands, spin your back foot flat, lining up for warrior 2, front heel to back arch as you circle your arms open. Reverse your warrior, breathing in. And side angle, breathing out. Reverse your warrior, breathing in. And then straighten out your front leg, breathing out. Shift forward into Trikonasana triangle pose. You can bring your right hand to a block if you like. And reach your top arm towards the sky if that feels good, or onto your hip. If you want a little bit more, you can imagine as though you're holding a beach ball in front of you, or even hold that block. Make sure it's not in your lower back, slide down in that front knee and lift the low belly. Take another breath. And then exhale, rebend your front knee. Come back into warrior 2. And then circle the hands down to the floor. Step your right foot back through a vinyasa or straight to downward facing dog. Reach your left leg towards the sky. You can open the thigh and bend the knee. Exploring a little bit. Step your left foot all the way through. Spin your back foot flat, line the front heel up with your back arch, and then circle your arms into warrior 2. Reverse the warrior, breathing in. Side angle, breathing out. Deep breaths. Come back into warrior 2. Reverse the warrior. Inhale, and then exhale, straighten out your front leg. Shift forward into triangle pose, lifting the navel center towards the spine. I'm hypermobile, so a slight bend in that front knee is very healthy for the hamstring and knee joint. You can take a block behind the leg, reach your top arm towards the sky, or any of those other variations we talked about on side 1. You can also do for side 2. And take a deep breath in, and then re-bend your left knee, come back into warrior 2. Circle the hands down to the floor, step back, vinyasa, or downward facing dog. Shift forward into plank and lower down to your forearms. You can take a block in between the forefinger and thumb, really spreading the fingertips here, and then press down into your inner forearm as your triceps wrap back. If this feels really hard, you can also interlace your fingers and press down like that. 10 deep breaths. Six more. You got this. Halfway there. You're almost done. And walk your feet in to dolphin pose. Try to keep the shoulders drawing away from the ears. Maybe the knees are bent. Lower the knees down. Bring your knees together and then open your feet wide. So you can sit down between your feet as long as your body allows, or you could take a block and sit on that block in Virasana. Your shoulders start to feel a little bit warm. Reach your arms out to the side. Turn your right hand towards the sky and reach it up overhead. Let's take a neck stretch first. So take your right hand to your left ear and then drop the right ear down. You can flex the left wrist and really press an imaginary wall away. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, long breath out. Softening the shoulders, rooting down through your sitting bones. Take your right hand to your right ear and then help the head back up. Open up your right arm, turn your left hand towards the sky, reach your left hand up overhead, and then left hand to right ear as you lower the left ear down. You can flex the right wrist and really press an imaginary wall away. Take 3 breaths. Creating space in the body. Take your left hand to your left ear, help the head back up. Reach both arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands to your heart. Nicely done. Go ahead and move the block if you have it. And come back into downward facing dog. Now walk your feet wide. once again. And you're going to take your right hand, you might walk your left hand back a little bit, to catch your outer ankle or calf, and then twist. Switch, right hand comes down, left hand comes to the outer shin or ankle as you revolve. Keep lifting the right forearm up. Deep breaths. Left hand comes down. Walk your hands to your feet. This time turn your heels and in your toes out and bend your knees down into a Malasana. You'll stand all the way up and circle your arms up. And then as you exhale back down into Malasana, and this might be your Malasana today, kind of halfway down, or you might be going all the way down and really lifting through your pelvic floor so you're not sinking down in your hips. And then press all the way up to stand. Exhale, Malasana. Let's do 3 more. One more for a good luck. And as you find Malasana, take a deep breath in. And exhale, long breath out. Lower the hands, straighten the legs. Turn your toes in so now your feet are about hips width and distance apart. And walk your hands forward into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, spin your back foot flat. Take your right hand inside of your right foot, maybe onto a block, and reach your top arm up. You can stay here, you can come into a bind. You can even come into a half bind. That feels good. You don't want to drop the chest down, and you also don't want to be in your lower back, so really press into your feet to open your chest up. If you're bound, go ahead and open up your arms. Take your right hand outside your right foot, and then straighten your right leg into Trikonasana. You can stay here or look down, and then bend into Ardha Chandrasana, shifting your weight into your right foot as you lift up. You can even come into Chakasana and catch your back foot. I like to pull the heel in Shavasana so that you get that stretch in the left quad, but you can also kick to open up the upper back. Any variations in your upper body, finding a drishti or a point of focus. Take another breath. And then step back into Warrior 2. Lower your hands down to the ground. Step your right foot back. Vinyasa or downward dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up. And then exhale, lift your left leg up. And then step your left foot through. Spin your back foot flat. And take your left hand inside of your left foot or onto a block, reaching your right arm up to the sky into a little deeper of a side angle. You can stay here or come into a half or full bind. doing what feels best for your body today. Lifting through the arches of your feet, really elevating a little bit of energy up through the spine. And take one more breath. And then go ahead and straighten out your left leg, taking your left hand behind the left foot into triangle pose. You can stay here, or maybe you shift the weight forward into Ardha Chandrasana. Left hand comes torso's distance forward. Press down into your left foot and lift your right leg parallel to the ground. You might catch the back foot. And again, I kind of like to pull the heel in towards the glute, maybe even just to begin before you kick into the palm of your hand to open up into the upper back bend. You can also come into traditional Ardha Chandrasana. Maybe your left hand lifts off the floor or off the block. And lightly bend your left knee and then step back into Warrior Two. Not an easy transition. Circle your hands down to the floor and walk your hands in between your feet. So you're going to do something a little bit different today. You're going to lower your left hand down underneath your left shoulder. You're going to turn your right heel slightly in so that the right toes are slightly out. You're going to kick your left leg underneath your left shoulder and kind of do a little karate chop. Yeah. You want to try to keep your left hip off the ground. Now press into your right foot, come back into Prasarita Padottanasana. And then we'll come into side two. Keep your right hand down, turn your left heel slightly in, toes slightly out. And then you're going to kick your right leg underneath your right armpit and press into your right hand. Yeah. And then come back into Prasarita Padottanasana. It's kind of a capoeira move if you're familiar with that movement style. And let's do that a few more times on each side, maybe a little bit faster. Left hand down, right heel in, left foot through. Back to center. Right hand down, left heel in, right foot through. Back to center. Couple more times each side. Let's do one more. Okay, last one. Whew. And rest. Turn your toes back forward. Step back to downward dog. Shift forward into plank. Through vinyasa. Or child's pose. If you like. Come high into your toes, bend your knees, step or hop through your hands, coming all the way down into a seat. If you have a block, so place it in between your thighs and roll on down. Interlace the fingers behind your head, bring your shins parallel to the ground. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lift your shoulder blades up off the floor and squeeze that block. Lower down, breathing in. Exhale, squeeze and lift. Lower down, breathing in. Exhale, squeeze and lift. 3 more. Reach your arms forward. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good. And then go ahead and have your knees into your chest and move the block to the side. Send your feet up towards the sky and release the fingers behind your head. And let's just do a couple baby lifts of the hips and then lower back down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Take that block back in between your thighs and give it a hug. I'm going to turn it the other way actually, so it's on the wider side. Open your arms out like goalposts, and then maybe lower your knees over to the right, squeeze the block, and come back to center. You don't need to move the knees all the way down to the ground, just a little bit to the side until you feel the obliques work, and then come right back up to center. And let's do that side to side. Squeezing the block. And you're going to kind of feel the upper rim of your pelvis. That's good. You want to keep your lower back on the ground. And come back to center. And place your feet down. You can keep the block in between your thighs, any way that feels good. As you press down into your feet, spread your toes, lift your hips up into bridge pose. Actually, like this. You can grab the outside edges of your mat and pull your mat forward to open up your upper back. Keep spreading the toes and pressing through the mound of the big toe as your glutes slightly engage to protect your lower back, but they don't squeeze so much that it causes more tension. You might need to lower your hips a bit. You want to feel a nice slope between the knees, the hips, and your shoulders. Take a deep breath in as you hug that block, and then exhale, lower your hips back down. So you can stay there and do one more bridge, or you can move the block to the side. Bring your hands back alongside your face with the fingertips facing forward. Hug the elbows in, shoulders away from the ears, your shoulder blades down the back, and then press down into your feet to lift your hips to bridge. If that feels good and steady, press into your hands and come into wheel. Deep breaths. And then lower all the way back down. One vertebrae at a time. Draw your right knee into your chest and release the fingers in front of the shin. Send your left foot forward, but lift your shoulder blades up off the ground and keep the heel lifted. Breathing in. Hug it in as you breathe out. And then lower your left heel and chest down and take your right knee over to the left to twist. Deep breaths. And draw your right knee back to center. Give it a hug. And switch. Draw your left knee in and release the fingers in front of the left shin. Lift your chest up off the ground as you send your right foot forward and then squeeze and hug everything in. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And then lower your right heel and chest. And take your left knee over to the right. And open your right arm to the side.
She means left arm. Open the left arm to T. And look left.
And draw your left knee into your chest. Bring your right knee in to meet it. Grab the outside edges of your feet coming into happy baby pose. And maybe you open the legs. Maybe bring the soles of your feet together. And take one more final breath in. And a long breath out. Draw the knees in. Lift your lips up to kiss your kneecaps. Squeeze. And then release into Shavasana, corpse pose. And perhaps the most powerful and potent pose of them all, this final resting posture, an opportunity to integrate all of the lessons that your body has learned on the mat, an opportunity to dissolve and release any residual tension that may still be residing within the body, to enter into a state of spaciousness, to feel that energy run through you as your body becomes this vessel for light, a vessel for energy, a vessel for knowledge to move through one breath at a time, easing you into a state of surrender. Breathing in, letting go. please feel free to rest here for as long as you need. Thank you so much for joining me here on the mat. Wishing you a beautiful and blessed rest of your day. Namaste.
Whew. Thank you guys for tuning in. I think whatchamacallits, I believe I'm still working out the angle, but let's see. I'm still working out the angle, but this tripod is not the best. We'll take this off the tripod though and say hi. Let's see. Thank you so much for joining. Stubborn horse. Oh, I'm so glad that you got your morning stretch and that you were able to practice with me. That's amazing. Okay. So we are going to fix this. I want to clean my mat though, because cleaning the mat is, hold on. Wait, why is it not working? Hold up here. What is going on? I see. You guys can see my apartment. I'm trying to get this situated, so bear with me. Oh, now I totally messed this up. Hold on. What a terrible. Well, at least you guys can see the island while I fix this. There we go. Oh man, this is terrible. Oh man. Oh man. There we go. There we go. That's what I get for trying to fix the angle. Anyways, pardon the difficulty there. Okay. I do want to be cleaning my yoga mat. I've got a little bit of OCD. Just a tad. And I want to be cleaning this mat because I always like to keep my mat clean. Okay. So, thank you guys so much for joining that practice. I'm gonna grab the cleaner again. As always, we gotta get the vinegar. And I realized that the angle is not the best with the tripod. So let's see what happens if I move a little bit. In any case, you guys are more than welcome to hang out with me for a little bit and come and chat whilst I clean the yoga mat again. Yeah, let me get this. I kid you not, that was the first yoga practice that I did in 6 months. But I did it because someone suggested to work out, so might as well. Okay, let me get this. was originally gonna do handstands, but I decided to do some yoga instead. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's adjust the tripod because you guys can hardly see me. Okay. That's better. I think that's better. Anyways, I'm gonna move over here because obviously you guys see the whole vibrating platform setup, which is my favorite device in the whole world. And I will obviously be using that as I do every single day that I'm home. But first, we've got to plug it in. This apartment is a tad bit too small. That's okay. I do want to ask what you guys thought of that practice. Do you guys like more of those things in the future? If so, feel free to let me know. Let me see here. I want to be fixing this and just adjusting. The tripod so that you guys can see. Okay. I think that's better. Tad bit. Just a tad. Let's move it down a bit so you guys can see. Like that. How's that? I think that's a little better. At least for me. That way I can chat with you guys. Because you guys were just watching me practice yoga. But if you guys like the yoga practice, do let me know. Honestly, I haven't been practicing yoga for 6 months. I only type in yoga for the clickbait because everyone thinks that I practice yoga and I don't. But hey, if you guys think I practice yoga and it helps the channel, then all the power to yoga. Because I did practice yoga many years ago, and then I stopped practicing yoga and focused more on breath work, meditation, and other tools like this bad boy right here. But because there is a full moon today, actually the full moon, the full moon just passed, or it's like right now for those of you in the US. I figure I'll do something special and do like a full moon practice, cause why not? But I do put my yoga mat here right next to me because I like to do handstands. So that's what I do it for. Hello. Okay, so now that we are done with the yoga practice, we're gonna go use the vibrating platform. Let's see. And for those of you who's just tuned in, we finished the yoga practice. Thank you guys so much for just hopping in, saying hello. I'm glad that the yoga practice helped you in the morning. Let's see what time it is. Super early in the morning, so it's a great for morning yoga practice for people in the UK. Let's see here. Honestly, I'm done with the stream, but I'm happy to just hang out and chill. I want to get my phone because I want to use I want to come on here and talk to you guys a little bit about just some of the stuff that I've been seeing on Instagram lately. So basically, here, I'll move it a little bit closer so you guys can see me. How's that? A little bit better. In fact, I might as well just like move this a little bit further down. Oh gosh. Pardon the cameras. You guys can see my wetsuit. There we go. And my outdoor slippers. Okay. But basically, whoa, that's a weird angle. Basically, it's a weird angle, but I think that's okay. Right? Maybe. I think maybe what I'll do instead is, because I'll be sitting for this, I'm going to adjust the tripod again. We're still testing the kinks. I haven't quite figured out the optimal setup for all of this. But hold on. But your super chats and any kind of chat, really, any super chats, any memberships, that honestly, it goes towards better equipment and a gaming setup. So, let's see. It goes towards better equipment, gaming setup. That's a little bit better. Okay. So everything that you do to support this channel, be it super chats, memberships, it goes towards a gaming computer setup and obviously better equipment, so I don't have to constantly adjust the camera like a total noob. But yeah, we're gonna use a round of, let's see, obviously the vibrating platform. It's my favorite thing in the world. Okay, so I do want to show you just some of the stuff that I've been seeing on Instagram lately, and I wanted to share that with you, mostly because I find that it can be super helpful. Sometimes I use the Explore page and it helps me kind of go through some stuff that I'm dealing with mentally. And sometimes I like to like inspire some kind of conversation. But here, check this out. This guy says, hold on. Hey, okay. So what do neuroscience, Buddhism, Taoism, and Stoicism have all in common? They all figured out that the pleasure is not happiness. in Buddhism, it's said that what keeps us suffering is the constant seeking of pleasures. And from a neurobiological perspective, this is true because what pleasure is dopamine, and all dopamine wants is more dopamine. So you guys know I talk about dopamine a lot because of Andrew Huberman and Huberman Lab podcast. And I personally am also constantly seeking dopamine. That's why I'm like a self-proclaimed adrenaline junkie. I always just want more, and that's what dopamine is. I'm very highly triggered by dopamine. It's our reward system in the brain. And when we get a dopamine hit, we just want more dopamine. I would say that I'm like basically addicted to dopamine. And so dopamine is the molecule of more, and what I've needed to learn is that dopamine is never content. And dopamine is the primary driver behind all of addiction. And so from a neurobiological perspective, seeking pleasure, it ends up not being about the pleasure itself, it just ends up being about more dopamine. It's more about alleviating the suffering and the pain that exists in pleasure's absence. So, what do we do about that? What I've learned, because I know that I'm addicted to dopamine, is to retrain my brain and retrain myself to create peace over pleasure. Sit in that discomfort and the pain that I feel, that once I get that dopamine hit, I'm just going to want more dopamine. And when I can't get that dopamine, I'm going to be disappointed. But sit in that disappointment, because the baseline dopamine will, like, apparently you will shoot like a huge spike when you get that dopamine reward. You'll feel great. You'll feel so successful, so high achieving. And I'm obviously an overachiever. But then you'll hit a baseline, so you'll get back to a normal state. And that's when I learn to sit in valuing peace over pleasure. Even if that means boredom, even if that means no pleasure, so pleasure's absence. And to find joy within any challenge. Just so that I can draw my dopamine levels to a normal baseline, instead of always trying to get that huge spike and then get that withdrawal, and then a huge spike and then a huge withdrawal, because I want to have stability in my brain. And once I find happiness in the process of being alive, that's when I learn that I get a little dose of, I don't know, what's the opposite of dopamine? Just inner peace, I guess. That solves my loneliness problems, which I talked about yesterday on yesterday's live stream. And that solves, what else does it solve? It solves essentially all of the issues that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. It helps me stay grounded, to be fully honest, and it honestly helps me like just enjoy the pleasures of everyday things. The fact that I have an outdoor bathtub, for example, the fact that there are rocks, like stones right outside, the fact that I just enjoy the simple things like my bed, doing the laundry, the fact that I just wash the sheets and my duvet cover, and I just find joy in the little things, because at the end of the day, it's the little things that add up to the big things. And when I stop seeking the big things, like for example, I like to talk about relationships a lot, right? And our connection with others. This kind of has to do with what I talked about yesterday, in which loneliness is a silent struggle we all face. But I've learned that in the absence of seeking connection, when I find peace within myself and peace within just the fact that I can be grateful for this apartment, for example, or just be grateful that I can get on my mat. You know, that I've got my 2 legs and that I have eyesight, that I can even chat with you guys. It's a huge blessing, and I'm very grateful for that. And then once I start to notice those things, then I stop chasing the dopamine. So that's what I wanted to talk about. There are also some things that I want to talk about you, not talk about you, talk with you guys. Here. This quote, and I'll say this again, because honestly, I think his voice is amazing. And I want to play this for you guys.
The rarer you are, the rarer the people are who share your perspective. In this way, the greater your success, the fewer people you can share it with.
Hold on.
The rarer you are, the rarer the people are who share your perspective. In this way, the greater your success, the fewer people you can share it with. And I was playing with this quote from Alain de Botton from the School of Life for ages, which was, loneliness is a kind of tax you have to pay to atone for a certain complexity of mind.
The rarer you are, the rarer the people are who share your perspective. In this way, the greater your success, the fewer people you can share it with.
From Alain de Botton. The rarer you are, the rarer the people are who share your perspective. In this way.
That I played this yesterday and I played it again today just because it's in my saved collection on Instagram. Honestly, it speaks volumes to me, because I honestly think that a lot of the times, a lot of people just don't get me. They just don't understand me. And then I stopped trying to be understood by others. And then I started celebrating like how rare we are, like how rare I am. And I can think of it as something that's sad, because the fewer people I can share my success with, but I can also really just trust in the process and trust that loneliness is a tax that I pay to atone for a certain like complexity of mind, which honestly, not gonna lie, like we're all weird. I'm weird. We're all weird. I'm very weird. I'm sitting on a vibrating platform and my voice sounds like this when I'm on it. I'm very weird, and I make no apologies for that. And so I've learned to essentially just celebrate the weirdness, guys, and really learn that the whole reason why I started this channel was because I wanted to connect with you guys, and I wanted to like cure my boredom and my loneliness. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in with me, for learning about all the tools that I use, for actually motivating me to get back on my mat, because I would not. Honestly, that practice has been on my browser for months. And it was just today that I was inspired to do it, because yesterday someone in live chat suggested that I do a workout. So honestly, thank you so much for motivating me to come and sit with you guys. I'm gonna read the comment in a second, as soon as I'm done with the vibrating platform. But yeah, thank you for motivating me to be getting back on my mat, since I haven't practiced yoga in 6 months. And most of what I've been doing is honestly just using my vibrating platform, because as someone with lupus, I've had to learn to really take inflammation seriously, and really find anything that I can do to essentially reduce inflammation. And so that's why I get on this vibrating platform every single day. I'm gonna see if I can read the chats on live stream. And if I can't, no big deal. Let's see here. It looks like I cannot. It looks like I cannot because I'm still live. But that's okay. It's not a big deal. As soon as I'm done with this, I'll read the chats. Or you can get super chat and I can read it instantly. So I might wait. Okay. Something else that I want to learn. Or that I want to share with you guys. Now, pardon the fact that my voice is a little shaky because of the vibrating platform. We're reducing inflammation, but I still want to talk to you guys while I'm here. Please sign up for Super Chat if you haven't, or not sign up. Next week I'll be able to enable memberships, and your memberships and any Super Chat that you use will go towards better equipment, obviously for the streams, a gaming setup, so that I can finally get a computer and not just be doing lives from my phone. It'll be like a much better setup with a much better mic because I'm just using my iPhone. So I'll get a better mic setup and gaming setup. It really goes towards supporting the stream. So all of your super chats, and next week when I can enable memberships, because I only just got YouTube Partner yesterday, which I'm still so grateful for and so happy for. It is honestly, I'm motivated to do a live stream every day. Even if it's an hour. I've already stayed on for more than an hour, but that's my commitment to you guys, is to just check in with you every single day. I do want to read some more things that I've found, kind of stuff that has helped me on my healing journey. I wouldn't say it's a spiritual healing journey per se, it's just my healing journey. As I've done the shadow work over the years, inner child healing work, as I've gone through therapy. I mean, hey, it's Mental Health May. So, Mental Health Awareness in May. So, something that I want to pose a question to you guys is, are you chasing likability or are you cultivating love in your relationships? The reason why I want to bring this up for Mental Health Awareness in May is because I want to bring up, or I want to point out the difference between chasing likability and not love. So what is chasing likability? You're being a relationship chameleon, right? You're adapting your needs, your interests, your wants, your desires to match that of those closest to us. You're almost sacrificing what you want for someone else. Essentially people pleasing, right? Being a relationship chameleon myself, not just in romantic relationships, but in friendships as well, I kind of tend to go with the flow because I thought that, being easygoing and chill was just such a strong suit, and I thought that was a compliment to myself. Later in life, like over the decades, I've learned that I have really just become someone who didn't even have any boundaries, didn't even know what those were, couldn't even express what they were. I felt a little lost within myself. I lost myself essentially by being a relationship chameleon in my friendships and in my romantic relationships, because I put those above myself and I adapted my own interests and needs to that of others. So for example, if I was, for instance, in a partner, in relationship with a partner, and I wanted to practice yoga, but they didn't, I would just not practice yoga. I would just do whatever they wanted. And that was really bad for my health. I realized that I just wanted to do what they wanted to do because I didn't care what I wanted to do. I was so easygoing, so much go with the flow that I essentially stopped doing whatever I wanted. Now that I'm single, I can do whatever I want. So thank you for helping me through this entire process. Because honestly, I started this channel as I was coming off of a break. Anyways, what else is chasing likability? I'm not gonna digress. Avoiding hard conversations where there might be uncomfortable differences of opinions. Are you someone who avoids hard conversations where there might be uncomfortable differences or opinions? I encourage you rather, to instead sit with the discomfort and speak up for yourself. Don't avoid the hard conversations where there might be uncomfortable differences of opinion. As long as you're speaking from your heart, speaking from your truth, you will, and I just pointed to my third eye here, but as long as you're speaking from your truth, speaking from your heart, and speaking gently and kindly, you can never, never be rejected for that. And if you are, they're not your people. I said this yesterday. What else is chasing likability versus cultivating love in relationships? Hiding the parts of yourselves that bring shame and require us to be brave and vulnerable. So when we hide parts of ourselves that bring shame and require us to be brave and vulnerable, what are we doing? It's really a detriment to our own healing and our own growth. When we hide parts of ourselves, we're only showing other people's what we think they want to see, and we're not being authentic to ourselves. And so I have written these notes because I want to bring this up to you guys. Please don't hide parts of yourself. Please don't hide parts of yourself that bring shame and please, please, please. It is the bravest and most vulnerable thing you can do to say, hey, I'm a little ashamed or I'm a little embarrassed, but I don't want to hide anymore. And I want to say something. Your people will love, honor, cherish, and fully accept that. Be right back. I'm going to get some water because I'm feeling a little parched. Let's see here. Dev, I'm so glad you're here. I can see the chat. Please, please, please. Say hi. Alrighty. Okay. Next up, we'll talk about always taking one for the team, being a team player, also known as having no boundaries or limits. Are you always a team player? I'm very much a team player. Like, it's very celebrated in the workforce, right? But when you're always taking one for the team, you eventually silently suffer. So please don't do that. Suffering in silence because you're not burdening others and maintaining the happy, fun, well put together image, like the happy-go-lucky image, you'll still be suffering in silence when you never speak up. And honestly, put yourself out there, even if you can be rejected. Like, if you have a crush on someone and you don't want to tell them how you feel, they'll never know. You've got to tell them how you feel. You've got to lay it down and say, hey, this is how I feel. So that way you don't suffer in silence. You can finally release all of that. That's what this live today is all about. We are releasing any stagnant energy. I did a yoga practice for you guys that you guys can practice with me as soon as I release the VOD, as soon as I am done with this live. But I want to say that when we release this stagnant energy, when we're no longer sacrificing ourselves, suffering in silence, and essentially being afraid to burden others, that's when we step into our truth. That's when we put ourselves out there. And that's when honestly, we've got to get comfortable with being rejected. Even if you're rejected, I'm not saying you would. What if the best thing could happen, right? Like, don't think about what's the worst thing that could happen. What if everything turns out the way you want it to be? We're in a lunar eclipse, guys. It's not going to happen for like maybe 10 years or something. I don't know, something weird. It's not going to happen for a while, this lunar eclipse. And so I encourage you to not think that you are a burden to others, because you're not. You're 100% not a burden. Okay, next but not least, apologizing unnecessarily, taking undue responsibility to keep things pleasant. So if you're unapologizing quite often or unnecessarily saying sorry all the time and taking undue responsibility to keep things pleasant, you're like always the peacemaker in your relationships, that is a sign of an insecure attachment in your relationships. Obviously the 4 attachment styles, there's secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. So if you are always trying to be the peacemaker in your relationships. Honestly, it doesn't even have to be romantic relationships. It could be with your family. If you're constantly the peacemaker or the savior with your family, you're always taking care of everyone, you're chasing likability, and you're not fully cultivating love in your relationships. Last but not least, the note that I wrote, if you're minimizing your own preferences, what works best for us, so as to not be difficult, like quote unquote difficult, if you're doing those things to not be difficult, then you're really minimizing yourself. And there was something that one of my teachers taught me back in LA. She was a cycling instructor, actually, my cycling teacher. She basically taught me, and this was the first time that I heard this, but I want to say this to you. When we learn that it is okay to take up more space, we fully step in to ourselves, our authentic selves, to no longer act small and to be more selfish with our time, with our love, and to be bigger. Not like weight-wise, but taking up more space symbolically just means that you are allowed to speak up. You are allowed to cultivate the greatest love in your relationships. Once you start doing that, that's when you can start to be more comfortable practicing having the hard conversations that you weren't so comfortable with before. And that's when you can really start to, I want to say, own yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and no longer let anyone make you feel inferior without your consent, right? Eleanor Roosevelt said that. So let's see. I know hard conversations all well, they're hard, right? Just the mere thought of them is generally enough to like make our tummies feel either butterfly-y or just like uncomfortable. We don't want to have them. It results in irrational, reactive, and at times impulsive ways of dealing with the hard topics. And so we tend to avoid it, right? We want to push it away. But if it becomes so pressing and it bothers us and it stays within our minds for more than like 48 hours, so much so that we can't think about anything else, it affects our mood, then honestly, it's really time to bring those hard conversations up. Otherwise, it leads to dysfunction amongst your friends, amongst your family, amongst your relationships. The thing is, we've got to get intentional with these hard conversations, meaning practice courage and bravery, being vulnerable, as well as practice some restraint with your emotions. So if I'm feeling really angry or upset or nervous and any kind of uncomfortable emotions that I just like, I disgust, right? When we practice courage to sit with those emotions and speak from a place of love, then what are we doing? We're honestly creating a foundation of safety, trust, and curiosity before entering into these conversations. And when we create a sense of, or a foundation of safety, trust, and curiosity within ourselves before we have these conversations, we then open up a huge realm of safety and trust within the other person that we're having a hard conversations with. So I want to bring this up to you because some examples that I think for starting hard conversations, I wrote this down. And this is something that you can practice. You can practice this with your friends, your loved ones, your family, whatever it may be, right? So let's see, there's like 6 examples. The first I would say is, in order to start a hard conversation, okay, example number 1, what do you say? There's something I would like to talk about. Is now a good time? Say that. Or, I think we might have different perspectives about X, Y, or Z. Can we talk about it? This is and all of these you'll know is like a theme for starting an open-ended conversation of curiosity, of of curiosity, and it builds safety and trust. We're setting a foundation for learning how to be more vulnerable and be more courageous within ourselves so that we can be brave and have hard conversations with people. Another example, I'm feeling confused about blank. Would you be willing to help me better understand? Asking, would you be willing to, is something that I learned from reading a nonviolent communication. There's this book called Nonviolent Communication. So I read that book, and essentially we're listening to understand. Instead of asking, hey, can you do this for me? That almost seems like we're bossing them. But if we ask them in a very open dialogue, like a very open-ended kind of question, would you be willing to do this? Like, would you be willing to take the trash out? That leaves an option for them to say no, in which case hearing no is okay. Being rejected, even in that small sense, like that person doesn't want to take out the trash for whatever reason, we've got to learn to hearing the word no and being okay with it. But that is a form of nonviolent communication that I encourage us all to practice, because I've learned that once I started to change my questions, I started to learn that I was never bossy to begin with, but how people can perceive our questions and our requests can come across as bossy. And when we learn to rephrase our frame of thinking, we can then honestly feel so liberated and bring up those things so that we don't come across as bossy or needy or, I don't know, princessy. Another example to start a hard conversation but you don't know how, you can just ask, can you let me know when it's a good time to talk about something that's bothering me? These are, again, all open-ended conversations. Another example, I feel hurt when blank. Are you open to talking this through with me? Like, you're asking the other person to help you through a situation so that you can learn more about yourself because you were hurt from something and you want them to help guide you through it. You want some support from them and you want some guidance from them. So just say it straight up. I feel hurt when this happened. Are you open to talking about this with me? Or, last but not least, you can say, I'm struggling with blank. If you're willing, I would like to work together to find a solution. Do you have time to talk about this with me? All of these examples are some things that I've done that has helped my communication, and that is why people regard me as someone who is like a very good communicator. And so I'm sharing my little tidbits of advice with you, all the things that I've written down. I've learned that I want to be able to just share my knowledge with you now. Now that I am officially a YouTube partner, I want to share all of my information with you on a free platform because I honestly believe that this channel is something that I created so that we could all support each other. And if I can spread some knowledge to you guys about the things that have helped me, the things that I've learned to be a better communicator, to be more vulnerable, to have the hard conversations that I didn't want to have, but to then come out the other side and improve myself, be a better person, then I'm happy to share that. And if it helps you, great. If it doesn't, take it or leave it. If you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, that's also fine. I'm just here to just drop some knowledge. And drink some water. By the way, if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you are drinking water. And if you can, please drink from glass, not plastic, okay? Because plastic is what is essentially toxic in little bits. I'm not going to go into that kind of talk right now because we're going to get super scientific, and today's not a scientific talk. Today is more about excuse me. Whew. I woke up with a stuffy nose. But yeah, today is not about a scientific talk. I will just mention this. You can look it up. Titanium dioxide in plastic. It's carcinogenic. You can look up PEGs. Just, yes, glass is best. Stay away from plastic. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I'm so, so happy that you are here. To practice yoga with me and to say hello. And honestly, thank you guys so, so much for just listening, for tuning in, and for connecting, honestly. You're welcome in this community because I intended to start this to foster a safe space so that we can talk about the topics that interest us in a safe forum for all of us to feel accepted, because I know that we all go through stuff in life. And I'm here for you. So I want to basically essentially I'm writing a note because I am essentially I want to essentially share with you basically every day on my live stream. It's my commitment to share with you a little bit of information that I've learned throughout the years, that I have spent thousands of dollars, time, effort, therapy, to do my own shadow work and to do my own inner child work, to do my own healing journey. But I'm here, I want to like share that with you. And in the hopes that it helps someone, anyone, that would be a tremendous honor for me, because I've done the work. I'm still doing the work, but I'm also happy to like share what I've learned, because knowledge is power. And so that's why I shared 6 examples of ways in which you can start hard conversations. And essentially, just be there for each other, to support each other. Because I know that I go to my mentors for support and for knowledge, and so if I could be of a resource to you, that's the goal for me. And I'm so happy to be able to share that with you guys. So there we go. Now that we are done with this, I do feel like I need to blow my nose because I sneezed and I feel like super, super congested. If you are in chat, let me know. I can see you, Dev, if you're still here. Thank you so much for any super chats that you've left behind for me. We'll be back again tomorrow. All the times that I'm going to stream are just going to be at times that I don't predict. So I don't know what time I'll be streaming tomorrow. I'm not going to have a consistent schedule for streaming. It's just going to be every day. And we will do streams probably for this amount of length anyways. So thank you so much for bearing with me. And thanks so much for working through the technical difficulties with like getting the camera set up and things like that. If you guys kind of are okay with this angle, then I'll keep it like this for tomorrow so that I can sit. It's not particularly useful if I'm standing and using the whatchamacallit, the vibrating platform, but we'll just figure it out. But again, your chats, your super chats and your memberships do support me getting better setup so that I don't have to constantly adjust the camera angles and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to show you really quickly the progress. I fell a couple of weeks ago, a little more than a couple of weeks ago. Let's see, I fell on April 22nd. Yeah. No, I fell on April 15th. Holy crap. It's been 3 weeks. So this is basically what has happened to my knees in 3 weeks. I fell so hard that like blood was dripping down to my ankles, and it's recovering slowly but surely, but it's recovering. But yeah, I fell on my knees and it looks like this. I know I really hate scars, but it is what it is. We're working through it. But yeah, thank you so much for sticking by with me, and we'll be back tomorrow. So thank you guys so much. I'm gonna go eat, blow my nose because I sneezed and I'm congested. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow. Again, I don't know what my schedule's gonna be like, but we'll be streaming every day. So see you tomorrow. Straddle Princess out.